All right. So, what suggestions would I have for these 18 to 21-year-olds? That's a great question, man. It's a great question. I have been having a conversation with somebody who is about 21, and he's somebody that I'm coaching right now. When somebody's between that age, 18 to 21 years old, they already have a belief of how they are. They have a belief of how the world is, you know. And so, what they can practice on is constantly learning how to become centered, how to be able to be in a state of stillness while they are living and doing all this stuff. Practice being still every single day. Here's the reason why. When we are still, what we're doing is we are separating from all of the noise that's inside the head, all of the images that's inside the head, all the things that we watch, all the conversation that we have, all this noise that's happening. When we're still, we get to watch them and we're not mixed up in them. When we get to watch it, we get to now see everything. And when we see everything, we're not influenced by every single thing that we're taking in. When you're 21 years old, man, you got all this stuff going on. You're partying, you're having fun, you're doing these things. There's a whole life in front of you. So many things. We can get lost in our head, in our mind. All of these thoughts that we have, they embody us. And now we are constantly influenced by everything that's in our mind. And so if we have great images in our mind, we feel good. And when we have bad images in our mind, we don't feel good. When we have good thoughts, we feel good. When we have bad thoughts, we feel bad. We're constantly on this roller coaster ride, like most people in that age. But when we learn how to go ahead and be still in our mind, and so we can watch the things in our head, when we can watch them and we can realize, number one, okay, listen to this. Number one, you are not the images. You are not your thoughts. You are not your mind. Okay. If you can learn this at 21 years old, your life will be very different. Okay. You are not the thoughts in your mind. You hear the voice in your head, but you are not the voice. You can hear it, just like you can see this screen, but you are not the screen. You can see your hand. So there's you, and then there's the hand. You can close your eyes and then you can see images, but you are not the image. You are the one observing it. Okay. Who we really are is not the stuff in our head. We can observe the things in our head. We can observe the voice. We can create a voice. We can create a sound. We can create these images, but we are not the images that we create. We are not the voice that we have. We are observing it. And so when we practice being still, when we practice watching these things, we're not getting mixed up in them now. Now we get to observe them, and now we don't get influenced by them. There's good things, there's bad things, there's things that are confusing. We don't know what's going on with them. It doesn't matter. Now when we get to see it, we're always feeling very centered. There's a sense of peace, because when that happens, what we do is we're actually connecting to who we really are. There's a soul inside each and every one of us. I've known this for a long, long time. This is what we really are. But to connect to our soul is to connect to that stillness, to get our mind to be still. And now our energy, our attention can automatically connect way inside into the energy inside of us. And that energy inside of us is our soul. When we connect to that, we now watch our life as it's happening. We watch the thoughts in our head, but we don't get lost in them. When that happens, now we don't get constantly influenced by everything around us. If a person does that at the age of 21, it's now very hard to go ahead and persuade or manipulate a person like that. When somebody is caught up in all these things in their head, it's really hard to know what is good and what is bad, because all we have is our head to go ahead and decide on things. So much information out there. But when we can watch all of these things, something awesome happens. You know what that is? This is what happens. We feel. We connect to our feelings and we feel our body. And now we can learn how to use the feeling in our body to help us make decisions. We're not just lost in our head, because we can get really confused when we're just in our head, overthinking stuff. We now connect to our feelings. But now when you first connect to your feelings like this, there is a time to where maybe your feelings aren't the best, you know? And when that happens, you have to sit with it and be okay with it. That's what I talked about, accepting it and letting those uncomfortable feelings and emotions rise up so you can let them go. And then at some point you connect to your feelings and now your feelings feel better. You're starting to feel more peaceful. Every time when you do this, when you meditate, that's what you do. A lot of people ask, what is meditation? What is the benefit of it? You know? Meditation allows us to be able to connect to our body, connect to that energy, connect to who we really are. Meditation allows us to be able to see the thoughts, but not get mixed up in them. So now when we can actually feel our body, we can feel now when we're making decisions and we can't weigh out what's good and what's bad because there's these pros and these cons and it's so confusing. Now we can just go, okay, let me back up a little bit. Let me go and relax and let me feel. Let me see how I feel about it. Let me look at this thing. Let me see how I feel about it. And it's like, oh man, this thing kind of feels kind of like there's this doubt. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel very strong. There's a sense of weakness when I think about this. Let me look at this thing. It's like, okay, well, this feels a little bit better. We start to use our feelings to make decisions. We start to use our feelings to be able to tell which people are good for us in our life. You meet somebody, you can hear what it is you're saying, you can think about them, but you can also feel them at the same time. Now you're using your mind and your body. If you know how to use that, that's gonna be the world of a difference. Our feelings is what opens up creativity and imagination, not our mind. Our mind is very limited to what we learn and analyze, but our feelings can open up everything. So when we tap into feelings, people that are very artistic, people that are very creative, they feel. That's where the creativity comes from. It comes from the ability to be able to tap into their body and to be able to feel. So that's what I would recommend. Learning how to silence your mind and learning how to be still every single day. Okay. Learning from there. And also from there, you start to see that is going to be the seed that sprouts into everything else. So many young people today are looking at people on social media and go, I want to be this person, I want to be this person, I want to be this person. But they don't think about, actually, I'll just be myself. I'll be myself and I just do what I want to do. They go, I want to be this person. You can look at this person and that person and go, I think that person is doing some really cool stuff, but I'm not trying to be like that person. I like what they're doing. I like what this person is doing, but I don't think they are better than me. Okay. They are not better than you. They are not smarter than you. Okay. That's what I've discovered. Those people are not smarter than you. All right. They've been around maybe a little longer. Maybe this person is 10 years older than you. Maybe this person is 20 years older than you. Okay. Or maybe they're the same age, but it doesn't matter. We learn how to go and accept who we are. Because at the end of the day, no matter how successful we get, we will never be happy. We will never feel fulfillment until we can fully accept who we really are. Because through acceptance, everything else comes in. And we start to be able to feel our body. We start to be able to appreciate the actual moment of life that is happening right now. People are so caught up in wanting to create things that they're constantly living in their head. You can't appreciate any accomplishment if you're only in your head. And when you're partially in the present moment paying attention, then you can only appreciate partially of what is happening now. But think about the last time you felt so alive, so excited, so free. You were in the moment. That's why you felt that way. And those moments that are in our life doesn't come from just some really awesome, spectacular thing. A lot of times these moments are the most random moments. But they are special because you are entirely present and experiencing that moment. That's what made that moment so special. You want to learn how to be able to do that. And that all has to do with silencing our mind, fully accepting who we are. This is what spirituality is really about. You know, it's not about religion. It's not about all that stuff. We let go of all the controls and all this stuff. It's about connecting to who we are. And if through that, we get to experience everything, that we want.